Hey everyone, Rushlock here, and today's video is an article before Eveoganda from Rixx Javix. This is basically Rixx addressing it's been 12 years since he started his website blog, and a little bit of a look to the past I found really interesting, and we'll get into it and you'll maybe see why. Rixx says, I started playing Eve in 2008. I started Eveoganda in January 2010. In between those times, I primarily flew down in Providence as part of various corporations. And I've spent most of my adult time in and around Provi since about 2016, and that's what jumped out at me early on that I didn't realize Rixx had started in that area as well. So he goes on to say, for some reason during 2009, I started keeping a captain's log of my activities for a short time. Consider it like a pre-blog journal. In celebration of my 12th anniversary of writing this blog, here is the complete run of that log. Keep in mind, I am 9 months into the EVE Online at this point, and still very much learning my way around. I think this is a really cool idea. It's like almost like a time capsule, right? And maybe the idea that someone had saved their text files, for over a decade and could easily find them. Well, I can't say easily. I don't know how much effort Rixx put into tracking them down, but just these exist. And there's a good number of them. We're not going to read them all here for the sake of brevity. We'll put the link, of course, in the description down below the video. But I wanted to read you a sample of this just to get an idea of the perspective, I think, of maybe not necessarily a new bro, but definitely somebody who is looking at their time in EVE in a matter of months instead of years or decades. Rixx says, Rixx Javix Captain's Log, entry May 26, 2009. I realized today that one of my crows, named Ziploc, has been alive for more than 3 weeks, which is the longest I've had an interceptor and not gotten popped. I almost regretted noticing that as I barely escaped a red bait trap inside the F9E Tech DG gate today. Half in armor before I could get away, and I spent 10 minutes hiding before the red blob gave up and went back to the SV5 gate. I did get a good harpy kill warping to the station. Someone had already gotten point, but I managed to contribute to the kill. The harpy gives me my 50th kill on the LFA kill board. Yeah. So I don't even know what LFA is. He mentioned Z-kill very shortly thereafter, so I imagine LFA was some kind of alliance, and they had some kind of private kill board maybe. I jumped on again later in the day for a roaming gang into catch. It didn't go well. We found nothing to fight all the way deep into enemy territory. Guys, this is 2009. I feel like we're talking about the last time I went roaming in catch. So we turned back and went into SV5 to the HED gate again. Like, can you imagine? Whenever I had the Provi New Bros in Twitch chat, like, it was always telling them, like, look, you can go into catch and do stuff, but stay away from HED. And we'll read more of Rixx's post here, and we'll see, I think, more. He says, Assassination, that's someone's name, was our FC, and I have to say that he let us down. Man, the call-outs, like 13-year-old call-outs. Communications were not clear, and we managed to get blobs pretty hard in HED on the SV5 gate. Imagine that happening, right? I did manage to get in on a Drake kill, number 51, before the blob arrived, but I was burning towards the Keber's gate when the Reds dropped 4 or 5 bubbles around us. The fleet was split between gates and orders were garbled. Reds started popping around us, so I made the decision to burn to the gate and jump out. It would be all about timing, but this time my lucky crow let me down. In hindsight, I should have just warped to a safe spot, but that would mean leaving my fleet mates behind, and that just is not my style. So I woke up in meat point in a new body minus my lucky crow. Oh well, I have another one fitted and ready to go. Which is the right attitude to have after losing a ship, right? Alright, final one we'll sample here. Let's see, May 27th, 2009. Not much time to undock today. I finally took the crow out to the F9E gate just in time before a red to poke his head through. We popped him, but I never got a kill mail and it hasn't been posted. Another in a long line of missing kills. But he was just the vanguard for a blob. I warped to my safe spot, and the red fleet was all sniper hacks, so not much to do in the crow. I went back to station, got the Drake, named Black Knuckle, and went to the jump bridge. Lots of confusion, as usual, in LFA's CVA response. It's like frozen time. Oh god, I'm amused by the whole lots of confusion, as usual, in the CVA response. By the time we got the fleet up and running, the red strategy was almost over. Skirmishes at the gate ended, and we decided to go on a roam through catch. Nothing happened, except it was obvious the FC had zero control over the fleet. By the time we made it back to SV5, I decided that the fleet was just going to get me killed, and I docked up for the day. Another day with missing a kill, but no deaths. This one stood out to me because 2009 is when I started. I didn't go to nullsec till 2010. And when the corporation I was in joined an alliance, of course there were a lot of fleet ops going on, and something that always stood out to me was confidence in your FC, and how huge of an impact it has on you making the bother to participate. Back then I ran mostly one account. I think later on, 2010 or 11, I made a second account for scouting and stealth bombing, but yeah, like I would log into Eve in this nullsec alliance I was in. I think it was Fatal Ascension, and when I would log in, there were all kinds of pings for fleets and strat ops and things like that. I don't know how many form ups I sat on a station, like just waiting and waiting and waiting, and I get that it's part of it. But I remember those days, like starting out in Eve and being like, man, like this is terrible. Like I don't want to sit on a form up for 45 minutes to go out for 30 minutes on a roam, and one bad call from the FC. But it's hard, right? You look at it from the FC's perspective, whether they're an experienced FC or one still learning. Like they can't improve as an FC unless people are willing to fleet up and join them on ops, and then people aren't willing to join up on ops if they don't have confidence in their FC. So that's always something tricky. I imagine even today that's got barriers to it that have to be managed. I said this is the last one. We actually have one more I wanted to read because it stood out to me as interesting. Entry date May 28th, 2009. My Crow is cap stable now and fitted with a T2 micro warp drive. Perma speed, baby. The morning gate camp was boring and nothing really happened. The lunch gate camp started that way but ended with it on a bang. I managed to get 2 more kills and a pod, a Rifter and a Retribution. I didn't even bother shooting at them, just locked and pointed. With so many blues around, it's pointless for me to shoot anything with my Crow, so I just focus on tackle. At least I'm contributing and building the kill board. 54 kills now. At one point this afternoon, there were 120 people in DG. That's the most I've seen in a very long time. Mostly because of the CVA fleet that warped in. Lots of reds in system when I got on this evening. Jumped on into my Raven and to join the battleship fleet at the jump bridge. No one would move me in TeamSpeak, so I couldn't hear anything. Oh my god, flashbacks of like comm systems and role permissions, and like I get a lot of the big groups still deal with that on a daily basis, but I remember authenticating and validating and sitting in rooms and waiting for movements, and that one, like when I read that line, just threw me back. That would eventually prove to be the reason I lost my Raven, but it was the old Raven anyhow, which I was why I was flying it. Losing it, I like how the typo has survived over a decade. Losing it was not a big deal. If I had known that was on the other side, or what was on the other side, I wouldn't have jumped in until things had settled down somewhat. Instead, I jumped in right away and got popped. I escaped potting and reshipped into my Drake. This time without audio. Oh, this time still without audio. I jumped in and got in on a carrier kill and a battleship kill. The battle was over for the most part. Later, I gate camped in my Crow for a while and got in on another kill or two. Can't remember exactly. One of them is missing at this point. People don't post kills like they should. No big deal, but I'm a perfectionist. Guys, love the whole, like, thinking back to the days of people having to manually upload kills and waiting for things to update, and, like, the honor brew of, like, man, you got popped, you should upload that. And it's just too good. But anyway, there's a lot more of these. Read through them, enjoy them. We'll put a link to this in the description down below. If you have stories like this to share, please feel free to do so either on the comment section below. But yeah, I found this as a really interesting concept, and I'm going to enjoy continuing and reading more of these. So make sure you follow or bookmark Eveoganda, written by Rixx Javix, and we'll see you all next time.